Arkanum is the sound design teaching of Herr Hacke. I would prefer the German pronunciation rather than the English one in this particular case. Arkanum is drones processed by me using my instruments and in a rather radical way. I suppose there's lots of dirt and lots of noise within these sounds. We recorded all the instruments, and particularly my instruments, together, but then the actual sound design in the instrument was done by other very talented people, but I felt the urge when it was released to get my own hands on it and create my very own sound design, also concentrating on my own instruments, like the stringed instruments, the feedback guitars and electric basses and stuff like that, which are dear to me and which are an area that I think I can do things that are different. I was aiming for a very intense, very dark, gritty and dirty kind of sound, as opposed to an epic orchestral sound, which I think is covered wonderfully by all the other sound design in the drones collection. I was going for something that sounds very electrified and sounds very rough and, almost punk rock, if you will. But within my conceptual thing, looking into ideas and concepts that are mystical or mythological or esoteric, if you will, and trying to create something that mirrors this or that is influenced or inspired by philosophical ideas rather than sound design ideas. I believe that music and sound is the ultimate way to transmit deeper philosophical ideas because it goes straight into the heart of the listener and it works straight with your emotions and will affect your breathing. I think symbolism can be transmitted very nicely within sound. My idea of dealing with drones or with working with these sustained sounds is pretty much that. So I work with these sounds on a very minimal basis. I like to use them really as bordoons, as single notes that sustain eternally. Therefore, I have tried to create a lot of movement and different layers and shades within a single sound. So you can press a single key and a whole world will unfold within a single key sound, like the feedback kind of drone or the bordoon drone that lies underneath a hurdy-gurdy or a similar instrument. Well, of course, I looked into the drone ingredients. And first of all, I looked at the recordings of my own instruments. And then I would take it from there. So I usually started with one of my stringed instruments, and then I would spice it up and underlay it with other instruments. And also I used some very heavy processing on everything that I did, because the original collection was pretty much naturalistic in its approach and using the room and using the actual expressions and timbres on the instruments. I instead would use very heavy processing, as in granular synthesis, distortions of all kinds, more amp simulations on top of the original amps, and I used a lot of different rooms also to add onto the Teldec room sounds, like nuclear cooling towers and cathedrals and stuff like that to enhance this kind of eternal, even sacred kind of feeling that I'm trying to create. I hope that it will give people a chance to go somewhere where they haven't been before, for one. And for another, I hope that with everything I do, it will give fellow musicians the feeling that they are not alone, that we are in this together, and that there is a unity within sound.